Another little kitchen cabinet rant. Day after the big election, which was really a second referendum on Brexit, and I've been looking at a lot of comment on social media about how badly UKIP did, about the fact that Tommy didn't get elected, and a lot of people, I think, were expecting us to get 30-40 seats in the European Parliament. Of course, that was never going to happen. When Tommy stood for election in the Northwest, I sent him a text and said, look, if you got 100,000 votes, that would be a phenomenal result. If you get anything over 10,000 results, it's a win for our movement. And if you get less than 10,000 votes, we've got real problems. Now, he got 38,000 votes. Talking about Tommy. If his social media accounts had been fully operational, if there hadn't been the demonisation of him for 10 years, he could well have won a seat there. I think the social media purge that's happened in the past week, actually, coming up to the election, I mean, talk about, people talk about the Russians interfering in elections. Facebook deleted my accounts. Between all my accounts and pages, I had tens of thousands of followers on Facebook. All of them completely vaporized. I now have no access to my pages. And Facebook gave me no reason why they took the accounts down. They just take the accounts down and they give you some very generic reasons why your accounts have been disabled or deactivated, as they call it. See, they're very clever. They're not even banning you anymore. They're just deactivating your account, which I would imagine would be for legal reasons so that you can't sue them. If they ban you, then obviously you've probably got a recourse to challenge them for equality reasons. But no, they just deactivate your account and say that you've been a naughty boy on Facebook, despite not doing anything wrong. So of course, Tommy got his account totally disabled, lost 1 million followers. That was his window. And this is what's so sinister about the way the social media companies are behaving. We don't have access to the mainstream. We are not mainstream. That's the whole point. Our network's not mainstream. So what we've got to think about is, first of all, between UKIP and Tommy, with complete demonisation for really 2 years with UKIP at least, and 10 years with Tommy, there was still almost 600,000 people voted for UKIP and Tommy, knowing absolutely certainly that we would not achieve a win, knowing with absolute certainty that we would be demonised no matter what happened. So 600,000 people voted for parties and for an individual who have been very, very vocal about challenging, shall we say, the religion of peace. And even when you think about the way I'm framing my comments today, I'm very careful what I say now. So the attack on freedom of speech is succeeding, because obviously once you get banned from a platform, I don't want to get banned from YouTube. Once you get banned from a platform, your voice is gone on that platform. But there's ways around it. Of course, I'm trying to work around Facebook and trying to get my message out on Facebook, but it's not the same as having your own followers and doing it yourself and building your own profile and being able to post when you want to do live feeds, etc., etc. So losing Facebook, yes, Facebook is a failing platform. Yes, in 3 years' time there'll probably be something else bigger and better that'll come along, and Facebook will be broken and in the rubble. But it's not the issue. The issue is right now we are being deplatformed and we are being sent to the social media gulag, if you like, and made to break rocks in Siberia. So I don't think last night was a disaster for Tommy. I don't think last night was a disaster even for UKIP, considering what had come against them. We are building a movement, and that does not happen in 2 minutes. But what we need to do as a movement, in my opinion, my humble opinion, not the best, because I haven't stood for election, but what we need to do is build a robust network. And that robust network has to be, first of all, based on education. We need to educate the population of the United Kingdom and Ireland, we need to work together on this. Actually, I'm working with patriots in Ireland as well, who we wouldn't agree with at all on the issue of the Union and the issue of the United Kingdom. But when it comes to globalism, when it comes to communism, we've got to be aware that for the last several years, we have been living under socialist governments since at least the time of the end of John Major's reign, so to speak, as Prime Minister, and now right the way through to Theresa May. All of them are so-called progressives and socialists. So we've got to break the back of that. So we've got to realise that our battle is against communists and cultural Marxists. We've got to also realise that our battle is against globalism. And this is where it gets really twisted. The massive corporations and big government work together to stifle small political parties and small businesses. So we've got to work against that. They work together to stifle nationalism and patriotism. They hate nationalism and patriotism. They hate the nation state. They hate states that want to keep their sovereignty. And then, of course, you've got the Islamists who work hand in hand with them. The United Nations is stacked with these people. The United Nations is a totally compromised organisation. The European Union is a totally compromised organisation. And the sinister lobby group made up of 57 countries, the Organisation of Islamic, I think it's Islamic Cooperation, they keep changing the name, is a massive Islamic bloc that has huge sway over the European Union, has huge sway in the United Nations. And again, most people in our populations don't know anything about it. They don't know what the agendas of these people are. So, as a network, we need to build in local areas. We need to have meetings. We need to have little meetings with 10, 12, 20 people in it, where we get materials out there. We teach people at a local level what is happening on a global basis, what is happening with the immigration, what's happening with the migrant crisis, why it's being facilitated and encouraged. It's not happening by accident. This is a deliberate policy by the globalists, by the Islamists, and by the communists. And of course, we've always got to be ever vigilant of the fascists, because they're still floating about. There are still people out there who are racist and anti-Semitic. They don't belong in our movement either. So it's about education. And if we can educate enough people, and we can still use the internet, we can't use social media like we did, but we can still use the internet. If we can educate enough people about what's going on in the United Kingdom, about what's going on in Ireland, what's going on in the rest of Europe, we've got a chance. And remember this, the Brexit Party won that election last night. I don't like Nigel Farage. I believe he's a bit of a snake oil salesman. But he won an election last night on the Brexit ticket. So nationalism and national sovereignty is still alive and well in the UK. The problem that we've got is that we mention the so-called religion of peace in a negative way, and straight away, as soon as you do that, the establishment comes down on you like a ton of bricks. So we've got to find ways on social media to be smart, to work around all these things, and get our message to people that need to hear our message. So we'll keep the fight going. Let's try and start our own social media networks. Many of us have got websites. I'm building an emailing list. If you get an email from me, from Richard Inman, or from the UK Freedom Movement or UKFM News, that'll be me keeping in touch with people that thankfully sent me their email addresses in the past 2 years since we've been doing this. So I'm going to be starting to email people on those lists very, very soon, and keep in touch that way. But the fight goes on, and I am not discouraged one iota. We knew what these elections were going to be about. They were about one thing and one thing only: Brexit, and the Brexit Party won. Despite what I think about Nigel Farage, that's good news for Brexit. There's still a big battle ahead with Brexit. Once Brexit is settled, once we've left the European Union properly, then will be our time to tackle the other issues that absolutely need to be tackled. And I just want to say well done, Tommy, for standing, for putting your neck on the line once more for our movement. And nobody should be dejected at the moment. And UKIP should not panic. UKIP, it's very important that UKIP stay on course Because there's no point in trying to make yourself Brexit Party 2.0. Gerard Batten said something very, very telling last week when he was asked about Mike Hookham. Mike Hookham did 2 absolute car crash interviews where he stabbed Gerard in the back and then promptly resigned. I believe he's got something to do with fishing, so he jumped off his trawler at the first sign of a whale. But UKIP absolutely need to stay on course, keep the message going, keep doing what they're doing, and I would say we need to double down on that message and become more of a radical party, not less of a radical party. So be encouraged. It's one battle, one skirmish. There's a long, long way to go to win our country back. See you all soon.